this might frustrate to some levels, the more experienced. But being a pedagogical exercise, I think that also it's not correct to call it intergeneration. It's not really what it is, but still it offers the opportunity from learning from each other and from peers. But thank you. I will this will add up some food for thought for our consideration. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I would say that the experience for, at least for me, would have been even better if the communication process was smoother and more transparent. For instance, we have heard from students last minute changes to the timetable, and you say, okay, so even an email or I don't know, a text or something saying, okay, the leaders run has been cancelled, or the
that was decided by me 1 hour ago. So. Yeah, and unfortunately, I was brought the negative inputs about having the children or the students going out with this cold weather. I mean, I'm not a real sportsman, but if you tell me go and run now, I say okay, we can do it. But when you decide for a larger group, you carry responsibility. You have to do it with diligence. So the feedback I got is that people would be unlikely willing to do this. Which is a pity, because the program, the RUN program, it's linked to the charity miles for UNICEF, which is a novelty, and each mile will correspond to an amount for UNICEF. So it's really like showing that an effort in a field can create a resource for an institution. But anyway, we try to do it via email and through the channels that we have, WhatsApp, and through the committee. That's what we do. And we normally don't do very last minute changes, with the exception of logistics, because maybe the hotel is putting us in a difficult situation. And for the UN, because the UN, the clearance for the use of the premises, unfortunately, is highly politicized, and it comes really close to date. We knew that there were great chances like 10 days ago, but we could have said that we were at the GA only 1 day before. So, and this is really the strict regulation. The UN is not making our life easy, just for you to know. And but it is what it is. With respect to the chain of communication, then there is nothing. We also thought in the past of creating a WhatsApp group, but then this would have violated the privacy, because some people would love to remain
anonymous.
Aside of this event. So in the end, we were forced to use the traditional channels via email and on the official link of QR code that you have on the page. The relevant updates are put in there. I don't know if it clarifies, but I mean, at least we are trying to do the efforts to make sure that the communication will reach you. Madam?
What I've realized in my experience is I don't know if we had a conflict resolution what is it? Program, like within program. Because I've realized when the kids are discussing certain issues, then they tend to argue sometimes, and they feel entitled, like, oh, I'm not. So instead of like working as a group, and also I would like to see more interaction amongst them, understanding that it's not nothing personal. It's not about your country, it's not about So that is very, very important from my experience. And also, yes, the whole interaction as well, I've seen they separate themselves according to their race, according to who they know and compatible with. So we should encourage them to be able to chat with anyone they're sitting next to. Like, encourage them to know each other's names, encourage them to go an extra mile, to know that person, like, instead of just being a tool like that. Yes.
I agree, and actually we carry a lot of efforts, trying to make sure that the students understand that we are looking for cooperation over competition. We know that Mobile are competition, and we understand and we acknowledge that. And indeed, there are awards, that will be delivered. But we try to push forward the idea that in order to reach the outcome of winning a competition, here you have to experience the cooperation. So in order to achieve your result, an award, the You have to deal with the cooperation first. But we cannot force this. I mean, what you are saying actually are dynamics that we see in the real UN. And Anglophone people, Francophone alliance, African solidarity, it is the real war. And in somehow, even though in a very restricted view, it offers us the complexity of the real world. So we cannot push for cooperation. It has to be dynamic based on their interests. Because don't forget that they are here and they have to represent the interests of the country they represent. You also noted that we try to allocate the country of their nationality because we believe that while we value the idea that understanding another country can represent an understanding and respect, but we believe that a true leader shall first understand his own country and then be in a position to understand the difference and comparison with other countries. So we are here to forge leaders. This might be a bit strong as a term, but this is really our mission. And we believe that allocating their country is the first step to understand why they are Italians, why they are Georgian, why they are American, and to understand. And from there, to go and to look for alliances and cooperation.
Wouldn't you think it would be better for them to be confident in themselves first, even before they understand their country? Because for me, a leader should already be self-sufficient in certain ways, in terms of like confidence and in terms of being friendly. Like one of the things I questioned in the UN is that how is it possible that you see so many diplomats, but they just pass each other, they do not even come? Like that, we should encourage that. Like if we want to see the future that we're talking about, with the kids, because at least when they're young, they will grow with that attitude of not just passing anyone like that. Especially in the UN, it doesn't make sense to me.
This finds me again in agreement with you, but it's a process.
Yes.
It's a process. This program will feel a little piece in their mindset. Other programs you have in your schools,
Sí, sí, que entiendo entre le puedes para que se parte de ese compa que dice.
It's an educational exercise. It has to start. Maybe it started before, but the idea is really, And some people also, reserved some skepticism about the length of the days, the working days. It's part of the game for us. We know that most of the people come from different countries. They are still jet lagged, as I am, but it is part of the game because we want to put them out of their comfort zone. Because stress and fatigue, there has to be a reaction.
Yes.
It's human. And it's also part of the game, because it's not a feeling at ease, I speak with whom I like. It's not how it's supposed to work. You have to be able to be neutral, to have a very objective view, build up on consensus and trying to build that consensus because it's easy to be in consensus with a friend, but when a new person, representing a diverse background, different cultural heritage, that's the exercise. That's the exercise. Please.
Just to add to what you're saying, we are teenagers, we have high schoolers, from freshmen to seniors, and we have a group of 34 from Technology high school, and sometimes even among them we see how they're grouping. They all finding their niche where they feel comfortable, and especially when we travel to the city and some of them, their families never had an opportunity to take them on the trips, but it's only learning. That's why this event was so great for them, that at least they're starting experiencing something like that. They see all other people around, different languages, and that's the step, as you said. The more they participate, the more they observe, the more tolerant they are. They're expanding their horizons.
Actually, in order to make it even more inclusive, we are deploying a lot of efforts by scholarships. I think some of you have noticed that. Future One, since it's the beginning, 2018, it was by ever the Modena we deployed a lot of real money to sponsor students from other villages, other countries, because we believe in diversity. Or at least we believe in the important experience diversity offers. we are not trying to politicize. The idea is that we remain an academic institution, and we have to provide them the tools for analysis. And if you offer them the right laboratory, social laboratory as it is, they will be able to detect and to improve themselves. Some people will just understand that this social work isn't for them, which is fair too. Others will understand that maybe passing 10 hours working a document is what they are dreaming of, and that's also part of it. We want to just offer the right tools, the right environment,
Right. To
where
let
there
them
is
make their own
structured
decisions.
stress. If we could have just decided to have like 4 hours working every day and just having them walking around Manhattan, that's not the purpose. Push them. We want to push them to go out of their comfort zone. That's, I hope, the reason why we're looking for intensive programs, because when we reserve a weekend, it's because we want to put them on stress.
Right.
Limit them, in a specific environment and to experience that. Because it's also a way to grow. I think someone maybe.
Yes. This has nothing related to what we're talking about, but I just would like to share inconvenience that happened yesterday at UN headquarters. We got here like 3 nights ago, and then we were on the check-in day. We went, they didn't have my pass for the UN headquarters. Then they said like come in the morning, check in the morning. So I checked in the morning around like 8, and then check we still haven't found the pass. Come and check with us before 10. So I went and checked once again at 10, and they said we don't have your pass, so don't worry. Go to the UN headquarters, and we managed there. So we were there, and then of course they couldn't do anything. But it wasn't just me. It was me and 2 other kids from different schools. Okay. So when we went there, we left
I'm
behind.
asking why I didn't know about this, because we have the power
Well-
to enter, because there is a diplomatic mission that can accredit up to 5 people.
No.
Ah.
And they were, you know that guy,
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I have the name incorrect, but it was Victoria and I think Sofia.
Bullshit.
They were saying like, no, I'm sorry, there's nothing that we can do. But the only thing that we can do is you can go to the office that is in front. So it was another lady, and not the office that was just in front where they get the day passes. It was on the left side. So we went on that little like office. Well, this is what happened. So the
Can I ask
other
you this? Your full name?
Myrna Wilson, Myrna, last name Wilson. So when we were there was like these 2 other students. So I was glad that I had Mr. Cameron with me, because Mr. Cameron was able to take our kids inside the building. But there was 2 other chaperones that they were waiting for the passes for their kids, and I said like, you know what? This is not gonna happen. So just get inside with your kids, and I will stay here with your kids, and I promise I will take care of them. Okay? So then we went to like this office, and when we were there inside the office, we get to like this lady, and the lady said, okay, I need the name of every one of you. So all 3 give out the names, and they said, I'm sorry, your name is not even on the list. And I said, oh my God.
That's why I asked you your name, because I want to inquire. Because if your name, if there were not passes, I want to double check the list we sent to the UN. And if I find your name in that, it means that we, as organizers, did our due diligence. And then I want to see if the printed badges,
Missed out.
I have a system to verify this one. I'm really sorry, because if I knew that, we could have just
We asked, is there anyone else that we, because at that time I wasn't worried about myself, like it was more about the students, because they were like so happy to get inside the General Assembly. And we were just like sit literally on a bench by the street.
I will inquire on this, and I will report to you.
And I asked her, like, is there anyone that we can talk about it? And then Victoria said, like, no, I'm so sorry, I feel so sorry. And then she just walked away. Just walked away. And then Sophia, she stayed there for a couple of, like we'll say a couple of minutes, and she was trying. And I said, like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. And then of course she was out.
Parce que Victoria aussi, elle est trop brutale. Si elle dit non, c'est non.
And that was so unfortunate for the
Oui, c'est
students.
bon.
Also for you.
Yeah, but more for them because they're
I
working
mean,
for.
I don't need French.
Ah.
If I knew that there are used to a lot of
One of the security guards told us like, you can go like just in from the office, get a day pass, but you're not gonna be able to
No,
get.
it's very complex.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you have noticed.
Yeah.
Israel is not a business center.
No.
It's another country within
Yeah. And they even tell us.
international country with very strict regulation.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and they even
And we
tell
were
us.
lucky because we were in the GA. But if we were in another room, then even the corridor would have been
Mhm.
interdicted.
Yeah.
It's really complex.
Yeah. So.
Anyway,
So
I'm
boom.
I'm curious to see what happened because it happened all the time that some people are missed out.